Chapter 21 Open the Technology Tree. Towards a New Life. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Yu's basic information has exceeded 100 points, and she has also gained a new talent characteristic, exploring the mysterious. When she is sent to perform exploration tasks, there is a small probability of obtaining more extra supplies. In addition, Lin Yu's talent level has also changed from D to C, and her combat score has also increased slightly. However, her physical condition is marked as weak, and the data shows that she needs a 10-hour recovery period. It seems that this 1000-point gene medicine is very effective. Sui was a little surprised. It's better than I expected. It can be said that it is worth the money. Sui analyzed that this may be because Lin Yu's talent level is not high, and she was lucky enough to encounter the improved probability of the gene medicine. Speaking of luck, Sui remembered that he still had a special reward that he hadn't used. The Horn of the Opener can add new characteristics to talents, and this characteristic can bring good luck. From the introduction information, although the effect of this thing is not very accurate, it is still a special reward. I only have 3 talents now. Who should I give them to? Sui lowered his head to analyze. According to common sense, it should be given to Jiang Xiaozi, who has the highest level, but Jiang Xiaozi's overall characteristics and talents are fixed gain effects, and she is a domestic talent. The responsibilities of the shelter are not very related to luck. Even if Jiang Xiaozi's characteristics mention words such as tactics and strategies, Sui has not come into contact with these things, and is not sure whether these things need the blessing of luck. On the contrary, Lin Yu, who has always been the main force of the battle to explore for supplies, needs luck. If the luck is good, Lin Yu will naturally bring more supplies. As for Leia, Sui didn't consider it at all. What good luck does a scientific research engineer need at this stage? Scientific research, that is down to earth. Let Lin Yu use it. No matter how you look at it, she will benefit the most from using this feature. Sui said nothing. When Lin Yu closed her eyes to rest, he opened the shelter panel and chose to use the special reward on Lin Yu. When a golden light flashed across Lin Yu's body, the prompt information showed that Lin Yu already had the Horn of the Opener feature. Chief, I feel like there is something more in my mind. Lin Yu suddenly opened his eyes, with a confused expression. Sui smiled and comforted. Don't think about it, lie down and rest well, you are our only protector now. Yeah. Lin Yu nodded obediently and rested in bed. Sui didn't think it was a waste to use the special reward for Lin Yu, and he didn't think of accumulating this special reward and using it when he met a more suitable person. After all, although the current shelter mechanism is very similar to a game, it is based on reality. Appropriate hoarding is beneficial, but hoarding everything mindlessly will only affect your own safety. Some things should be used when they are needed. The sooner you use them, the sooner you can enjoy them. The night was empty and silent. The only sounds in the entire building were the clanging of Leia building safety facilities downstairs and the whispers of Jiang Xiaozi counting supplies. Sui opened the shelter. Only then did he have time to count today's gains. Thanks to today's talent reward, Sui wiped out the thugs and occupied the entire building in one fell swoop. The supplies that Brother Li and others have been collecting from outside these days were all cheap for Sui. Sui roughly estimated in his mind that if only 4 people were using them, these supplies would definitely last for several months, and they would live relatively comfortably. After all, when other survivors in the city were still worried about food and water, Sui had already used toilet paper, toothbrushes and other details to improve the quality of life. By the way, he could also smoke, and there were even some color magazines and comics in the pile of supplies. It seems that Brother Li and his group of men really accept all supplies and bring everything into the building. More supplies are naturally good, but there are also some disadvantages. There are too many supplies, and the storage space in the freezer is limited, so some food will definitely spoil prematurely under high temperatures. Sui frowned. I have to hurry up and trade some of the perishable food in exchange for some new things. By the way, how many survival points do I have left? Sui took a look and found that he still had 1,806 survival points. Let's build the blank area of the shelter first, and see if the extra points can be exchanged for some good things. Sui opened the construction module of the shelter, and the feeling of being out of his body appeared again. Sui's perspective was raised to a bird's-eye view again. This time he was not too shocked and experienced, and he immediately began to carefully check the overall structure of the shelter. This building is an old residential building with a total of 8 floors, and 4 households on each floor. The scope of Sui's current shelter is the entire 6th floor, which also includes the upper and lower corridors. According to the trend that the shelter upgrade will spread to the surrounding areas, Sui can easily judge that as the shelter upgrades, sooner or later the entire building will be occupied. Then, my vision for building should be a little longer term, and I should take the entire building as the main body to build the future blueprint. At present, I can't build anything directly on the other floors, so naturally I can't build a defense mechanism on the first floor. So the defense mechanism should not be the main goal, and this thing is too expensive. Sui took a look at the things that can be built in the shelter. There are iron doors, electric doors, and basic defense facilities for wire mesh, and even wall guns, laser traps, and movable floors. It can be said that there are many kinds of things, and there are so many categories that you can't see them all at a glance, but without exception, the prices of these things are extremely expensive. Even the simplest iron door costs 100 survival points. Although the advantage of building a shelter is that it can be directly installed, eliminating the process of collecting construction materials and manual construction, but Sui still didn't plan to buy anything from here, because Sui found that the only suitable shelter defense mechanism he could buy now was the iron door, and the iron door thing, Leah can make it herself. Although it is not as good and thick as the one in the shelter building module, it can barely be used. As for other defense modules, either the shelter level is not enough or there are prerequisites. Sui found that not only defense modules and items, but most of the things that can be built in a level 1 shelter, including circuits, floor heating, central air conditioning, chemical research laboratories, and all other building information, require a pre-room called research room. Research room, consume 1000 survival points to build a level 1 research room, which can open the technology tree system of the current shelter type and develop more pre-technology modules for the shelter. I understand. You need a technology tree to climb technology and directly purchase more building items for the shelter. Sui nodded. It makes sense. I feel more and more like I'm playing a game. This set is really too authentic. It's really a unique doomsday survival game that perfectly suits the human beings on Earth. Sui had no choice but to tearfully denounce the huge amount of money of 1000 points and buy the research room. Please select the location of the room. The range of rooms you can choose to place is displayed with purple marks. As the prompt message lit up in front of him, Sui saw that the area occupied by the research room was very large. It was a room that actually occupied the entire area of the 2-bedroom and 1 living room next door. The area of the newly upgraded level 1 shelter was not small, but 1 room of it occupied 1/3 of it. It really deserves to be the most important front-end building. It really takes up a lot of space. Sui sighed, thought a little, and chose to place it in a position closer to the inside, farther away from the corridor. This thing is so important that it must be well protected. In case the building encounters an enemy in the future, it is also necessary to ensure that the research room will not be discovered or attacked by the enemy in the first place. Congratulations, you have successfully placed the research room. Your shelter has opened the technology tree system. Upgrade Doomsday technology. Transform a better life. A better life? Let me see how good it is. Sui rubbed his hands and opened the newly unlocked technology tree module on the shelter panel with a little expectation. Chapter 22 Upgrading the Technology Tree, Comfort in the Air-Conditioned Room. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As Sui opened the technology tree list, densely packed technology projects were listed in front of Sui. At the top of the list, it says, Experimental House Sequence, and below are various technological projects, such as, Basic Power System, Autonomous Water Resources System, Strengthening of Basic Defense Measures, Preliminary Projects for Improving Living Facilities, Improving Scientific Research and Exploration Capabilities, Agricultural Automation System, Medical Aid Station, Air Purification System, Intelligent Monitoring Network, Garbage Processing Center, Central Air Conditioning Module. Sui was almost dazzled by the dense number of technological projects. Even if you don't look at the detailed effects of these technology modules, if you just look at the names, you can imagine that if all these technology projects are illuminated, the shelter will definitely undergo earth-shaking changes. Let me see the price. Sui looked carefully and murmured, 1,000 survival points for the power system, 1,000 points for the independent water resources system, 300 points for the garbage treatment center. 800 points for the central air conditioning module. Damn, they're all so expensive. Sui took a breath. He looked at his only 800 survival points and couldn't help but smile bitterly. It seems that building a shelter is really a long way to go. This is only a level 1 experimental house, and there will probably be more expensive technology projects in the future. Sui was thinking about how to use these 800 points to maximize profits. Central air conditioning is very important, but for now I can also use ice water to resist the heat. Medical aid station. It's also good, but not the most necessary. Well, let's light up the Scientific Research and Exploration Ability Improvement module first. It costs 500 points, but it is currently the most profitable technology project. Sui selected this project for detailed viewing. Scientific Research and Exploration Ability Improvement. Spend 500 points to send engineers, scientists and other scientific research talents to conduct research, which takes 10 hours. After the research is successful, the income from shelter exploration can be increased by 10% and the research speed of technology tree projects can be increased by 100%. 10 out of 10, although these two 10% may not seem like much, if accumulated, the additional benefits will be very objective. Just choose this one. There are still 300 points left. Do you want to keep them, or should you look at them again? Sui thought about it, and his eyes couldn't help but fall on the technology project of the Garbage Treatment Center, Garbage Disposal Center. It consumes 300 points and dispatches engineers, scientists and other scientific research talents to conduct research, which takes 12 hours. A fully automatic domestic waste treatment equipment is built in the shelter, which can harmlessly process all types of garbage. Exactly 300 points. Sui only hesitated slightly and finally chose to purchase the project. There was no other way. He really couldn't stand the smelly feeling at home. After the city water source was gone, even toilet flushing was no longer possible. A large amount of excrement had to be accumulated every day and then treated with smelly water that was about to go rancid. Even if he does this, Sui still feels sorry for water resources. Modern humans already have civilization, and it is naturally difficult for them to tolerate living in an unhygienic environment. Excrement can breed bacteria and is also a major threat to human survival. The Science and Technology project has been selected. Please send suitable talents to the Scientific Research Room for research. Leah. Sui quickly called Leah back downstairs. Leah went upstairs and stuck her head out, asking doubtfully, "Boss, did you call me? How are the defenses downstairs constructed?" "It's almost there. In another half hour, the trap and gate reinforcement at the entrance will be completed." Leah said with a smile, "Although this building is a bit old, the materials used are very strong. The original door was an iron door, which saves me the need for large-scale renovation. Well, let's take a good rest today when we're done. There's still a big project to do tomorrow." Sui nodded and informed Leah of the research projects of the two science and technology projects. When Leah heard this, her eyes lit up. "Boss, you don't have to wait until tomorrow, I can do it now." "Now?" Sui glanced out the window, and it was already dark. "It's already after 11 o'clock in the evening, right?" "It's too late, so let's have a good rest." Sui didn't want to squeeze his subordinates too much, but Leah's attitude was very firm. "No. Boss, I can study all night. I promise to complete the task before tomorrow night. I can issue a military order." Leah was very eager, her beautiful eyes sparkling with enthusiasm for scientific and technological research. Sui was helpless, but he didn't expect that Leah looked weak, but was actually a scientific madman. "Sir, I also support Miss Lee in conducting research now. Jiang Xiaozi on the side suddenly spoke up and gave his opinion softly. This is an extraordinary moment. Our lives depend on it. The sooner Miss Li can play her role, the better we can ensure everyone's safety. So, most of the time we can't pay too much attention to normal work and rest, but have to make adjustments according to local conditions. Jiang Xiaozi said it tactfully, and Sui nodded in agreement. Okay, that's it, it's just going to be hard work for Leah. It's okay, boss. Leah raised her hand to wipe the sweat from her forehead, still holding the wrench in her hand. Her smile was very sweet. I am happy to do these things. After saying that, Leah asked Sui for the location of the scientific research room, went out and dived in. The location of the research room is in the room of the original neighbor next door. Sui has never seen what the research room looks like, so he followed curiously. From the outside, the research room is similar to a normal residential house, with ordinary wooden doors, but after pushing open the door, there are all kinds of strange research props, high-power microscopes, chemical workbenches, high-precision cutting tools and machines. There are many instruments that Sui has never seen before, let alone how to use them, but Leah is different. She is familiar with the place and fiddles with the research instruments in the room with light movements. Looking at her expression, she seems to enjoy it very much. After a simple observation for a moment, Sui did not disturb her and quietly left the room. After returning to the main house, Sui found that he seemed to be the only idle person in the entire shelter. Leah was busy with the renovation of the building and the development of the technology tree project. Jiang Xiaozi was busy counting and sorting materials, and planning the future development of the shelter. Even Lin Yu, who was sleeping normally, was a meritorious person with an injury, and it was natural for him to sleep. Well, how about I take a nap too? Sui scratched his head, and he found that he really had nothing to do. Even if he wanted to further transform the shelter, there was no survival point, so he simply fell beside Lin Yu, closed his eyes and fell asleep. When Sui opened his eyes again, he saw a red. The sky outside the window was already bright, and the high-temperature sun was still madly torturing every creature on this planet. Perhaps because the hidden danger of the mob was solved, Sui slept particularly sweetly. When he turned over and got out of bed, he found that Lin Yu had disappeared. At this time, Jiang Xiaozi came from outside, holding 2 plates of hot and fragrant dishes in his hands. Sir, you're awake. Jiang Xiaozi smiled and greeted Sui. Lunch is just ready, come and eat. What time is it now? Sir, it's already 12:10 p.m. I slept for so long. By the way, where did you cook? Sui sat at the dining table, a little surprised. I remember, didn't the gas in our house stop? The neighbor downstairs has a gas tank and a stove at home. I thought some of the food and the supplies was not very durable, so I decided to cook this meal. Jiang Xiaozi explained gently. You told me yesterday that I would decide all these matters, big or small, without discussing them with you. Yes, that's right, you did a good job. Sui nodded. He looked around the house, and sighed. Before going to bed, the whole house was very messy, and the air was still filled with lingering heat and stench. In the past few days of the Doomsday, Sui had no mood to clean the room at all, and Lin Yu and Leah, the 2 girls, were not good at doing housework, but now, after waking up from a good sleep, the whole house was clean, tidy and bright. The foul smell in the air was gone, replaced by a faint sweet fragrance. What surprised Sui the most was that he clearly found that the temperature in the room was a little cool. It seemed to be only around 30 degrees, you know, the global high temperature is 70 degrees now, and the temperature of 30 degrees can almost be called winter in relative terms. Why, so cool? Sui murmured, and he looked around and found that the freezer had been adjusted by Jiang Xiaozi and placed at the door of the room, and the counter was opened, and a simple device similar to an exhaust fan was placed outside, which was constantly drawing cold air from the freezer into the house. Air conditioning. Sui widened his eyes and felt incredible. Xiaozi, did you do this? This is not a freezer, this is clearly an air conditioner. Sui had thought about doing something similar before, but he never took care of it. Instead, he asked Jiang Xiaozi to do these little details now. It's not me, it's Miss Li. Jiang Xiaozi shook his head and didn't take credit. She made the device, which can make Mr. sleep better. If you don't tell her, Leah won't do these things on her own initiative. Sui smiled. He knew Leah's personality. She was a relatively passive scientific research talent. Most of the time, she was used to following orders and rarely took the initiative to do anything, but Zhang Xiaozi was different. She was very subjective and would think about what to do independently and try her best to do it well. The brand new house in front of her was the best proof. It was just one night. Sui sat at the dining table, looking at the bright and clean houses around him. He felt as if he had returned to the days before the end of the world, but Sui's trance did not last too long, and he was soon interrupted by the new information prompt in front of him. Congratulations. Staying in the shelter for 24 hours triggers talent rewards. Chapter 23: The Plan of the Boss Behind the Scenes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You have received the talent reward C-level technological weapon infinite bullet rain rifle, high sniper type. As the prompt message appeared, a rifle appeared directly on the dinner table. The chopsticks in Zhang Xiaozi's hand paused slightly, her beautiful eyes lowered, and she continued to eat gracefully as if she hadn't seen him. Sui didn't explain, just picked up the rifle and started looking at it. The gun body made of lightweight high-strength alloy shines with a cold metallic luster. Its lines are simple and elegant, and it has smart sights, silencers and other devices. In the magazine area, there is an energy conversion system, which looks very futuristic and technological. While Sui was observing, the rifle information also appeared in front of him. Weapon name: Endless Bullet Rain Rifle. Weapon grade: C grade. Weapon characteristics: unlimited ammunition. It can shoot gunpowder bullets without limit, but please pay attention to the cooling of the barrel. High precision mid-range sniper. Within a range of 800 meters, it can be adjusted to single-shot sniper mode to maximize its power. Sound silencing. Its shooting sound is slight and almost unnoticeable in non-confined spaces. Basic properties: weight, approximately 4.6 kg, length, 1020 mm, gun body, plus 450 mm, retractable butt, caliber, 5.56 mm, conversion kit available for multiple calibers. Range: effective range is 800 meters, maximum range can reach 1,500 meters. Fire rate: single shot, 3 consecutive shots. Fully automatic, adjustable. The fire rate can reach 800 rounds per minute in fully automatic mode. Ammunition type: built-in unlimited ammunition, no need to reload. Other types of bullets cannot be used. A rifle with unlimited bullets. It also has a sniper function. Sui's expression was a little subtle, and he felt like he had entered the world of infinite flow. Do you even have this thing? The mysterious existence has really created a Doomsday Game localized to Earth. For C-level weapons, the reward level has been increased by 1 level. This may be related to the upgrade of my talent. But from the perspective of the talent mechanism, what I lack most right now are weapons. Sui held his chin and analyzed. If he really calculated it seriously, there is no shortage of food, drinking water, and talents in the shelter, but there is indeed not enough weapons. Counting the firearms confiscated from Brother Lee's gang of thugs, there were only 5 pistols in the entire shelter, but less than 100 rounds of bullets had been consumed in yesterday's battle. Although everyone can have 1 pistol, the remaining bullet reserves cannot cope with higher intensity confrontations. So, the talent reward simply gave me a rifle without bullets. This is indeed a good time, but I don't usually go out, so I don't have many opportunities to use this gun. Sui raised his head and asked Zhang Xiaozi, where is Lin Yuan, that he planned to give this gun to Lin Yu. She was currently the most important explorer in the shelter. With this gun outside, her safety was greatly guaranteed. She went to check on the body. Zhang Xiaozi said softly. She said she was going to personally confirm whether yesterday's enemy was dead. She calculated the time and it's almost time to come back. Is that the corpse called Brotherly? Sui held his chin and murmured, speaking of which, I forgot to ask her yesterday how she delayed it for so long and how she arrested Brotherly. Sui was very curious about this. That period of yesterday morning was the most dangerous moment in the entire shelter, thanks to Lin Yu, who attracted the attention of all the thugs. Otherwise both Sui and Liu would be in danger. I asked. Zhang Xiaozi put down the bowl and chopsticks and patiently explained Suyi's doubts. according to Miss Lin, she made full use of the outer walls of the building and various residential buildings as cover during the battle yesterday. Thanks to that group of enemies who broke into the house before that and opened most of the doors in advance. Ms. Lin uses the outer wall as a passage to catch lone enemies in different rooms to ensure our one-on-one combat advantage, thereby continuously weakening the enemy's effective strength. Although Brother Lee used a grenade, Ms. Lin avoided damage, so it was not serious. As for catching Brother Lee, it just so happens that it is said that the new soldiers you brought, sir, included a sniper. His appearance intimidated Brother Lee and attracted most of his attention away. Miss Lin seized the opportunity, attacked Brother Lee, and successfully kidnapped him. Because Ms. Lin had noticed that Brother Lee seemed to have the ability to resurrect, she tied him up specifically to try to prevent him from continuing to resurrect. You already know what happens next. Zhang Xiaozi explained all the content, and Su Yi asked, "Did Lin Yu tell you?" "Yes, I felt it was necessary for me to get to know everyone in the shelter, so I had preliminary communications with them all." Zhang Xiaozi nodded and praised, "Miss Lin's fighting ability is very outstanding, and her fighting will is also worthy of praise. She is a rare and excellent warrior." "I think so too." Sui nodded in agreement. He personally experienced yesterday's gun battle and deeply understood the importance of Lin Yu. But taking into consideration to avoid something like yesterday happening again, Zhang Xiaozi looked at Su Yi and suggested, "I suggest you, sir, adjust the development direction of the shelter and focus on building the internal defense mechanism of the shelter." "That's what I thought too." Sui nodded and smiled, "It seems that we have thought of it together. I am planning to let Liya take charge of this." "No, that's not enough." Zhang Xiaozi shook his head. "In addition to the physical defense measures of the shelter, we also need to build more defense methods. For example," Sui humbly asked for advice, "if you have any good ideas, just say them." "Residents, we need more help," Zhang Xiaozi spoke softly, "I know that you don't trust outsiders. After all, people's hearts are complicated and unpredictable. I understand this very well. But apart from that, population is the key factor in the strength of a shelter. If we had a large enough population, battles like yesterday wouldn't be so vicious. The strength of Brother Lee's group is nothing more than their large number of people. Actually speaking, according to the information I learned afterwards, Brother Lee does not have outstanding management skills. He just uses the most brutal means to manage his subordinates. Them. This group of men has no loyalty to him, only resentment and fear, but even so, Brother Lee still has a strong control over them." Zhang Xiaozi paused and promised with a serious expression, "If you are relieved, sir, I can take charge of this matter. I can ensure the loyalty of the new residents to Sir to the greatest extent. Gather the strength of all the people to forge Mr. S shield and sword." Zhang Xiaozi said it very seriously. It was obvious that this was the development direction she had in mind for the shelter. "What you said makes sense." Sui pondered, frowning, thinking carefully about what Zhang Xiaozi said. Suyi's character is cautious, but he is not stupid. He can understand Zhang Xiaozi's unspoken subtext. Judging from the current world situation with doomsday rotation, the current stay-at-home policy is very good, but once it encounters a doomsday situation that requires the unity and coexistence of many people, a weak shelter is destined to suffer. According to the current mechanism of doomsday games, in order for humans to survive better, shelters will inevitably annex each other. Annexation can bring more population and resources, and population itself is one of the prerequisites for survival. Even if Sui doesn't consider the factors of doomsday rotation, he still has to worry about the threats to him when other shelters grow stronger. I have also hesitated. I would rather gather more talented units as residents than the outside population. Sui took a deep breath. It is talented units like you, Lin Yu, and Liya. You are the cornerstone of the shelter. Sir, we do not have the means to recruit talent stably. Zhang Xiaozi looked at Su Yi, her tone still gentle, "So, you have to learn how to control people, and I will help you." Sui looked directly into Jiang Xiaozi's beautiful eyes and suddenly felt a little emotional in his heart. It turns out that this is how it feels when you meet a military advisor, and you will be persuaded involuntarily. Jiang Xiaozi's analysis was very correct. Sui could not refute it and nodded in agreement. Okay, I'll leave this matter to you. However, since you can see my character, you should understand me. Yes, sir, I know what to do. Jiang Xiaozi smiled and said, I will formulate a complete shelter recruitment system and management plan. I will do my best to create a safe identity tailored for you. Jiang Xiaozi said something very mysterious, and Sui was a little curious. What identity is the safest? Jiang Xiaozi said softly, the boss behind the scenes. Hey, Chief, are you talking about something confidential? The door was pushed open carefully by Lin Yu. She looked in, not daring to come in, because the expressions of the two people in the room were very serious, especially the chief's, with some surprise and expectation in his seriousness. It's okay, come in. Sui waved and asked, Lin Yu, go check on the body. How is the situation? Not resurrected, he is completely dead. Lin Yu smiled happily, the body stinks, so I threw him out of the building. Sui nodded, handed the rifle to Lin Yu, and explained the basic information about the rifle. Is this for me? Lin Yu was pleasantly surprised. She couldn't put it down and stroked the gun body, with a look of obsession in her beautiful eyes. Soldiers love guns, it's instinctive. What's more, this is a rifle with unlimited ammunition, and it is very versatile and can handle many dangerous and complex battlefield environments. Well, give Xiaozi your submachine pistol for self-defense. Chief, there are not many bullets in that gun. There are only 20 rounds left. That's enough. Sui smiled, if we need to let Xiaozi face the enemy now, it means that we are not far from destruction. The chief is right, I will never let anyone hurt everyone. A determined expression appeared on Lin Yu's pretty face. She held the rifle tightly in her hand, filled with confidence to become stronger. Lin Yu has indeed become stronger. Her combat power score after recovery was 256 points, and after equipping the rifle, it became 456 points. This rifle directly increased her combat effectiveness score by 200 points. According to Suyi's own estimation, Lin Yu's current actual combat effectiveness is at least at the peak level of ordinary humans. The one who is stronger than Lin Yu can only be the superhuman in the movie. Then, let's go. Sui opened the dispatch mission and found that the 3 dispatch missions refreshed daily were upgraded from D level to C level. For higher level dispatch missions, the resource collection will be richer. Sui picked a dispatch mission to collect medicines and sent it to Lin Yu. At present, the most scarce supplies in the shelter are medicines. Lin Yu received the mission and saluted with his chest straight. Don't worry, Chief. I promise to complete the mission. After that, Lin Yu took the gun and took the necessary supplies and left the shelter. The execution time of this mission is 12 hours. It is calculated that she will not be back until the evening. There are still too few combat talents, and there is only one Lin Yu now. Sui sighed, once she leaves, the safety factor of the shelter will drop by several levels. Sir, everything will be fine. Jiang Xiaozi comforted, everything will be there, take your time. Well, by the way, you continue to talk. Sui glanced at Lin Yu's back, and looked at Jiang Xiaozi with interest. Continue to talk about your, behind-the-scenes big boss creation plan. Chapter 24 City Killer. New Crisis. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Lin Yu left, Sui communicated a lot with Jiang Xiaozi. After Jiang Xiaozi's analysis and explanation, she tailored the behind-the-scenes boss plan for Sui. The specific method was to recruit more human survivors to work for the shelter, build a management system with the shelter talent unit as the core. Appropriate talent units will restrain the survivors, suppress the negative factors among the survivors, and guide them to work harder for the shelter. Sui, on the other hand, stayed behind the scenes, limiting the survivors' opportunities to contact Sui and ensuring that Sui only had the most loyal talent units around him. As long as we form a complete shelter management mechanism and form a pyramid system in which the husband is respected, the talents are supplemented, and the survivors are the people, we can ensure the safety of the husband's life, and at the same time, we can take into account the rapid development of the shelter. Grow. Jiang Xiaozi said softly, the so-called boss behind the scenes, you don't need to do anything yourself, you just need to give orders and arrange for others to do it. When no one can contact you, your safety will naturally be guaranteed. Naturally, there is no need to worry about the unpredictable people. Jiang Xiaozi's words made Sui ponder slightly. This system sounds a bit familiar. Isn't this the emperor in ancient times? Sir, you can understand that. Jiang Xiaozi's smile made Suyi's heart beat. This bitch wants to put on a yellow robe for herself. But seriously speaking, what Jiang Xiaozi said is indeed right. If it is necessary to satisfy Suyi's vigilance while also taking into account the development and growth of the shelter, then this is the only way to go. Let's give it a try first, no one can say for sure about the future. Sui did not agree directly and promised to let Jiang Xiaozi arrange it this way first. I will make arrangements. Jiang Xiaozi nodded, and she reminded, Sir, the food is cold, I'm going to heat it up for you. No, just eat it like this. Sui waved his hand, feeling that he was a little extravagant. The apocalypse has begun for many days, and most of the food in the city has rotted, and even the drinking water stinks. The food and drinking water of most human beings are gradually running out. Where can I enjoy the delicious food before the end of the world like myself? Although this is just a daily routine, Suyi's treatment is far better than that of most survivors in the city. After enjoying lunch, Jiang Xiaozi stood up to clear away the dishes, and then excused herself to Sui. She was going to continue organizing and planning the entire building. Since Sui wants to use this place as the foundation for her career, she is naturally obliged to handle the remaining details. In the afternoon, Jiang Xiaozi was busy tidying up the building, Lin Yu went out to explore, and Liya was still in the scientific research room and continued to work on the technology tree project. In the entire residential building, Sui was left alone with nothing to do. It really feels like an emperor. Sui was lying in bed taking a nap, feeling the coolness coming from the freezer, and sighed in his heart, I am responsible for giving orders, and talents are responsible for implementing them. This feels really good. Sui fell asleep for a while after being drunk and full. When he woke up, it was already 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There is really no way to pass this empty time at home. After all, there are no computers and mobile phones for entertainment now. Sui can only find something new to do to kill the time. Let's take a look at the trading platform and see if we can buy some bullets. Sui opened the shelter's information interface and was about to open the trading platform when he suddenly discovered that there were many new rankings in today's shelter ranking module. In addition to the 3 lists of shelter level list, talent list, and exploration mission list, there are also more, such as the shelter material reserve list. Only the income from dispatched missions is calculated, the shelter destruction, enemy killing, list, the shelter equipment list, only the shelter equipment is calculated, the survival score list. Looking at the dense list, there are at least a dozen. Sui took a glance and found that he actually occupied the first place on 5 lists. They are number 1 on the talent list, number 1 on the level list, number 1 on the exploration mission list, number 1 on the material reserve list, and number 1 on the equipment list. Am I actually so powerful? Sui blinked. For the first time, he discovered that his shelter turned out to be so powerful. It has been less than a week since the first round of Doomsday began, and I have already won the first place on the 5 lists. The more rankings you have, the better, because after the end of the current round, the mysterious existence will issue rewards based on the rankings. The higher the ranking, the better the natural rewards, and the easier it is to form a huge snowballing advantage. Well, let me see the rest of the list. Hiss, this number 1 on the enemy killing list is too exaggerated. Suyi's eyes widened. He saw the data of the number 1 on the enemy kill list showing 161 shelters destroyed. This list is almost the same as the PK list in the game. Anyone who can be on the list is a fighting maniac, but you have to know that this is the real world. Although there are Doomsday Game mechanics, the people killed are also living humans. Destroying 161 shelters means that this person killed at least 161 people, and possibly more. The apocalypse has only started for a few days, and we have already killed so many people. I don't believe that all you have encountered are enemies. Sui murmured, I'm afraid, this is a murderer. Whether it's for fun or to get more survival points through this method, it means that this person is extremely dangerous. Sui was alert and remembered the name of the first on the kill list, Little White Bear Shelter, a name that looks cute, but what this guy did is not cute at all. I'm only looking at the city area list now. I don't know the situation nationwide or even worldwide. But if we can see the big picture from the small, Jinling city has such a murderer, and other places may not be much better. It's really the end of the world. Natural disasters are rampant, and there are many man-made disasters. It's difficult. Sui shook his head and saw his own ranking. He ranked 53,688th on the kill list and destroyed one shelter. This means that at least more than 50,000 people destroyed other people's shelters. This is just the beginning, and this number will definitely increase in the future. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. Well, I'm ranked. Damn. After 100,000. Not included in the specific ranking, Sui's eyes widened and he couldn't help rolling his eyes. After his points were consumed, thousands of survival points were only 6 points. 6 points are indeed too few, but Sui doesn't think it will be ranked after 100,000. Could it be that at least 100,000 survivors in the city have mastered the method of obtaining points? They are either talented or they get points through other means. Sui held his chin and glanced at the first place on the scoreboard, Little White Bear Shelter. Current points are 12,620 points, more than 12,000 survival points. If you count the part he might have spent, this guy's accumulated points are likely to exceed the 20,000 point mark. This is a really tough guy. Judging from the number of shelters he destroyed, he has at least 16,000 points. Now his ranking data is less than that, which means he has spent some time. His strength should not be underestimated. Sui frowned. There is such a murderer in the city, and there is no specific sign. This is really a headache, especially for Sui, who is so vigilant. He has already felt that the familiar sense of oppression has returned again. He just felt the sense of relief for less than a day, and it disappeared without a trace, replaced by a strong sense of crisis in his heart. This guy has so many points, but the shelter level is still level 0. This is the most dangerous situation. Can someone with so many points not meet the conditions for upgrading the shelter? Impossible. He is definitely deliberately suppressing the shelter level. He still has a trump card that others don't know. Where is this guy? He shouldn't be very close to me, right? Chapter 25 Emergency. New feature, My Faith. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The more Sui thought about it, the more frightened he became. He quickly closed the ranking data in silence, quickly logged into the trading platform, and started searching for orders related to weapons and bullets. After filtering the search conditions, Sui was surprised to find that the price of relevant orders today had soared several times. The day before yesterday, he was able to buy 100 rounds of ammunition with only a few bottles of ice water and some medicines. Today, the seller's reply was indeed, the price is not enough. The lowest price the seller wants is 10 bottles of ice water, plus 20 kilograms of shelf-stable food or 20 boxes of commonly used medicines. This much material can be exchanged for 100 rounds of the most common pistol bullets. As for other bullets, they are not for sale. We don't sell grenades either. Only pistol bullets, pistols, and body armor are for sale. Sui consulted several sellers and found that the prices were quite different. It seemed that in just one day, this group of people had discussed it and raised the price one after another. Strange, why has the price become so expensive? Sui frowned. He opened the city area chat channel, searched for keywords such as weapons and bullets, and checked the chat history information. He really discovered some clues. It's so annoying. Today's bullets are so expensive that I can't even afford them. I finally saved up some resources to buy a gun for self-defense, but it turns out it's not enough. It is said that there have been too many gun battles in the city in the past 2 days, mostly due to competition for supplies, and some people even deliberately massacred weak shelters. Sellers who control firearms decided to control shipments, not wanting humans to kill each other. Nonsense, I don't believe this reason. They clearly want to support their troops and respect themselves. It's not that serious. There are still good people. My female neighbor next door was rescued by the rescue team yesterday. Unfortunately, their supplies were limited and they couldn't save too many people. People's hearts are unpredictable in the apocalypse. Hey, I feel more and more that there is no difference between this post-apocalypse and the pre-apocalypse. Brother, what do you mean by this? Think about it, before the apocalypse, I worked hard for decades to buy a house, but the house prices were rising every year, and I was always a little short of getting a car. After the apocalypse, I worked hard to save resources to buy a gun for self-defense, but the result was that every time I was just a little short. Only then can I buy it. You can tell me with your conscience, is it the same before and after the apocalypse? Has my situation changed at all? I'm still at the bottom of the fucking society. Fuck. Then isn't this doomsday in vain? That the survivors in the city area complained about this problem yesterday, but Sui was resting after the war at the time and did not notice it immediately. In the past few days during the apocalypse, survivors throughout the city had become accustomed to using online trading platforms to exchange what they had, and to exchange urgently needed supplies with each other to improve the overall hope of survival. There are even some good people with a holy mother heart who distribute supplies for free or sell supplies at low prices to help others, but not long after, the atmosphere of the entire trading market changed. The holy mothers are gone, and low-priced supplies are gone. Whether it's drinking water, food, or even weapons and equipment, the prices have increased several times. The more hard currency supplies are necessary for survival, the more expensive they are. Non-essential supplies such as toilet paper, toothbrushes, and cigarettes are very cheap, but no one cares about them. We are all at a critical moment of life and death. We all have one meal but no one. Who cares about the quality of life? Sui also had a headache when facing this problem. The cost of the transaction he originally used was ice water, but now it seems that ice water is no longer a necessity in the eyes of the survivors in the city. After all, there is too little ice water. Currently, only Sui can produce it stably, but only 10 bottles a day. Even if all 10 bottles are sold, placed in the demand market of the entire city, they are just a drop of water under the scorching sun and have no effect at all. Everyone has long regarded ice water as a special scarce commodity and a luxury item, and the demand for it has dropped rapidly. Is it possible that I'm going to take some expired food in exchange for bullets? Sui thought about it and tried to communicate with the sellers, but found that they were quite picky. Many foods that are not easy to store are not expensive at all, only half the price of shelf-stable foods. It's only been a few days, why have everyone become so smart? You're all trying to take advantage, right? Okay, I won't buy it. Sui gave up. He didn't want to suffer a loss, and Sui already had a rifle with unlimited bullets, so his need for weapons and equipment was not too urgent, so there was no need to be taken advantage of. But I have to buy something, right? Sui looked at the list on the table, where Jiang Xiaozi listed some of the foods that were about to expire and spoil last night. If these things are not disposed of in time, it is a huge waste to let them rot. Eat. Totally unable to finish it. There are only 4 people in the shelter, but the amount of supplies stored is enough for dozens of people to survive for a week. Even if Sui lets everyone eat freely, they still won't be able to finish the food. After all, the 3 people except Sui are all women. How much appetite can a woman have? The best one is Lin Yu. If that doesn't work, just buy some cigarettes or something. They're cheap. I haven't smoked in several days. Sui thought about it, and he felt that it was a bit wasteful to do so. While others are still worried about hunger, I am already considering whether to stock up on a few cartons of cigarettes to satisfy my spiritual needs. Just when Sui was thinking about what to buy, there was a burst of noisy voices downstairs. It sounded like there were many people gathered downstairs. What's going on? Sui was startled. He rushed to the window and looked down through the gap in the curtains. He saw a group of women standing downstairs. They were the group of women he had driven out yesterday and one of the original residents of the building. Go and come back, Datsui frowned. His eyes noticed that Lin Yu was also standing among the women. She faced the crowd with a gun, seemed to be comforting the women, and then turned to walk towards the residential building and opened the door in a special way taught by Liya. After a while, the sound of Lin Yu going upstairs came from the corridor outside the door. At the same time, a new prompt message appeared in front of Sui, attention. The talent unit Lin Yu sent out triggered a special event and returned to the shelter in advance. Trigger a special event and return early? Sui raised his eyebrows and murmured, is this another new mechanism? If I return early, will the amount of materials explored be affected? Sui didn't know. He didn't know much about the mechanism of dispatched exploration. Judging from the behavior of Lin Yu bringing back these women, the dispatch mission seems to be similar to the survivors looking for supplies outside. The dispatched people will search for supplies within a certain range, and the surviving humans don't have to do it themselves. After a while, Lin Yu opened the door and appeared in front of Sui. Chief. Lin Yu's voice was crisp and saluted Sui. It's not dark yet, why did you come back early? Sui looked at Lin Yu calmly, what happened? Yes, Chief. Lin Yu took a deep breath, suppressed the tension in her heart, and reported tentatively, while I was on the way to perform the mission, I found a group of thugs not far from the shelter committing brutal acts against a group of innocent women. As a soldier, I have the duty to protect the people, so you repelled the thugs and brought the women back. Sui opened the curtain again, glanced down, and said lightly, you should know that I drove them out. I know, Chief. Lin Yu lowered her head, her tone was a little hesitant. She tried to explain the matter. I don't want to violate the order of the chief, but, they are really pitiful. I know that when performing a mission, we can't be unnecessary soft-hearted and kind. But Miss Jiang mentioned to me last night that if we meet the right person on the way to the mission, we can take him back to the shelter. She said that our shelter also needs more fresh blood. She didn't specify which people to take. So, I feel sorry for them, Chief. I'm sorry. Lin Yu lowered her head, and she became less and less confident as she spoke, and became dejected. I'll let them go now. Not really. Sui waved his hand and sighed slightly, it seems that Jiang Xiaozi is smart. He has been considering the plan to develop the shelter since last night, and he is sure that he can successfully convince himself today. At the same time, Jiang Xiaozi also saw Lin Yu's character. Although Lin Yu is a talent unit of the shelter, in fact, Sui thinks that he is no different from a living person. He repeatedly believes that this group of talents is actually no different from humans in essence, and Lin Yu's talent background is a Chinese soldier. From this point of view, Lin Yu has the awareness and action to stand up and help the weak, dare to sacrifice and protect the people. These 8 words are the best portrayal of Chinese soldiers. She did this, and Sui couldn't say anything. Every talent has his own characteristics. If it weren't for Jiang Xiaozi's words at noon, Sui would at most ask Lin Yu to drive these women away again, but now, it's different. Go find Jiang Xiaozi. Sui turned around, drew the curtains, and whispered, she will deal with these women. Chief, will we kill them? Lin Yu was a little nervous, holding the rifle tightly in her hand. Sui noticed her little movements and couldn't help laughing. Lin Yu, if I ask you to kill them, will you do it? Chief, I don't know. Lin Yu panicked immediately. She widened her beautiful eyes and stared at Sui in disbelief. She couldn't believe that the person she was loyal to would be a cruel tyrant. Will you shoot? Military orders. Military orders are as heavy as a mountain. Lin Yu was stiff all over, muttering, to die as a token of my guilt. She could not accept that she might shoot innocent people, which violated her principles as a soldier. You look conflicted. Sui smiled, I won't give this order, go find Jiang Xiaozi, she will take in these women, she knows how to arrange it. Chief, You agreed. Lin Yu was immediately surprised, looking at Sui with her beautiful eyes flashing, her expression was very unexpected. Do I look like a murderer? Sui was puzzled. Lin Yu opened her mouth and shook her head fiercely. No, you are not, you are the greatest leader in my mind, can still lend a hand to innocent people even when they are in the most difficult environment. Such behavior can most impress Chinese soldiers. Okay, I'm not great, I also have my own plans. Sui waved his hand. He was not as good as Lin Yu said. There are too many supplies in the shelter now. Instead of wasting them, it is better to raise more people to work. It is better to raise a group of women than a group of men. The threat and variables will be slightly lower. Go, find Jiang Xiaozi. Yes, Chief. Lin Yu turned and left excitedly. She wanted to tell the poor women downstairs the good news. Am I taking advantage of this? Sui looked downstairs through the curtains and murmured, but at least I can provide security. It can only be regarded as taking what we need. In this way, I am not too bad. Doomsday has not completely changed me. Sui's self-talking voice has not fallen yet, and a new prompt message suddenly popped up in front of him. Congratulations. Special event for excellent completion of the dispatch mission. Your talent unit Lin Yu is greatly motivated and gets a new talent characteristic My Faith. My Faith, talent characteristic. She received sufficient motivation, the people she was loyal to strengthened her beliefs and pursuits, and she had the opportunity to break through and become a higher level of talent. Chapter 26 What a Cunning Woman. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Why? Sui was stunned, a little overjoyed. Is there any surprise? Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network. A special event, can it still be like a mission being completed? Are there rewards? I satisfied the spiritual needs of the talent, so the talent made progress in becoming stronger. I made a profit this time. Sui smiled happily. Not only was this a group of coolies in vain, but it also allowed Lin Yu to grow. As Lin Yu is currently the only military force in the refuge, Sui naturally hopes that she will be as strong as possible. Lin Yu currently has a C-level grade. If he can become stronger again, he can break through to B-level, right? I'm really looking forward to it, but I don't know when this feature will be effective. Sui looked outside the building. Sisterly, do you think will he allow us to go home? Outside the building, among more than a dozen women, a girl in her early 20s spoke timidly. Her charming face was pale, there were shocking crimson pinch marks on her neck, and her shabby clothes were in tatters, even though there was a hot red sun above her head, and the surrounding temperature was so hot that even if she was almost naked, she would suffer from heat stroke. The girl still tried hard to pull at the tattered clothes on her body, trying her best to cover more skin. She was scared, so scared that she still felt cold despite the high temperature. Maybe, I don't know. An aunt who was about 40 years old had a tired expression. She looked at the sisters beside her, hugged the girl with some distress, and comforted her softly. Don't be afraid. I don't think that young man is a bad person. He drove away those bastards named Li, and he can be regarded as our savior. Whether he lets us go home or not, at least he didn't hurt us. It's just a pity for Xiao Wang. If she is still alive. Sister Li took a deep breath, her expression gloomy. The girl in her arms couldn't help sobbing, and her tears couldn't stop falling. When the women around them heard this, they also had deep resentment on their expressions. The one named Li led the group of bastards, and even the girl's underage sister was not spared. Where are we going to go if he doesn't let us in? Someone spoke in a low voice, with despair and a will to die in his eyes. Have no idea. One girl shook her head, with deep hesitation in her eyes. Perhaps, he will really die. They have already tried it. From yesterday after being evicted until now, they have seen the chaotic outside world. Outside there was only the scorching heat and thugs, and countless pairs of eyes from the darkness staring at this group of women. They just slept together in the subway station for one night, and there were 3 missing. 3 women disappeared innocently in the dark night, and no one knew what happened to them. The remaining women did not dare to stay in the subway station at all, but when they walked out of the subway station and faced the daytime sun, they were so hot that they almost fainted and had no idea where to go. They walked aimlessly, full of fear and uneasiness. Unknowingly, the women returned to the vicinity of the residential building not long ago, but they encountered a group of men who were out searching for supplies and were surrounded on the spot. This group of men tried to abduct the women by force. Once they were taken away, they might end up becoming new slaves. At the most desperate moment, Lin Yu appeared, drove away the thugs, and took them downstairs. The girl with the rifle said her chief might be willing to take them in. Chief, this is a title that makes people feel at ease unconsciously. This girl should be a soldier, and her boss should have the same sense of security as a soldier. The women didn't know and could only make confused guesses in their hearts. Here it comes. She's out, a woman suddenly screamed, and the girls raised their heads and saw that the door of the building in front of them had been opened. Lin Yu walked out with a serious face and a rifle on his back. The girls noticed that there was a beautiful woman wearing a cheongsam in front of Lin Yu, and Lin Yu seemed to lead her. Are you the new friends Lin Yu brought back? Jiang Xiaozi's voice was very gentle. He stepped forward and naturally took Sister Li's hands. Are you Sister Li? I heard Lin Yu mentioned you. You have always taken care of the girls. You are really a great sister. I. Sister Li was stunned for a moment, at a loss as to what to say. But fortunately, there were no dangers along the way, and you are finally back. Jiang Xiaozi pulled Sister Li and called the girls at the same time. Why are you still hanging around? Come home with me quickly. Go home. A girl timidly said in the crowd. Won't that man drive us away? He drove us away yesterday. He doesn't seem to welcome us. Are you talking about Mr. Su? Jiang Xiaozi looked at the girl and explained gently. I asked you to leave yesterday because I was worried that there were still thugs hiding in the building. In order to eliminate the threats in my home, Mr. Su was indeed forced to let you stay outside all night. But now it has been confirmed that there is no danger in this building, so Mr. Su will send Lin Yu out to look for you as soon as daybreak. Speaking of which, Mr. Su did something inappropriate. I want to apologize to the sisters on his behalf. Jiang Xiaozi spoke very sincerely, with an apology on her beautiful face. Lin Yu felt a little uncomfortable on the sidelines. She was not used to being a character in lies, although the reason Jiang Xiaozi said is a bit far-fetched. In today's chaotic and dark world, no matter how far-fetched the reason is, it can be accepted, as long as you can survive. Really? Sister Li was a little surprised. She looked at Jiang Xiaozi with gratitude. You are really good people. The soldiers showed up yesterday and killed those bastards named Li. I knew you were good people. And you are all girls, only Su. Yes, Mr. Su, he is the only man. A man who can be followed by you will definitely not be a bad person. Sister Li's words were a little messy, and she was very excited at the moment. Being able to return to your original home without fear outside is the survival instinct of all humans. Come back with me quickly and have a good rest. I've prepared food and water. Jiang Xiaozi paused and smiled softly. You can also take a bath. In this weather, there is a ready-made hot bath. Bath. The women's eyes lit up. They hadn't taken a shower for how many days? Since the man surnamed Li took over the entire building, they have been abused every day and can only eat the leftovers left by the men to satisfy their hunger. Luscious food and hot baths, even though they had been experienced a week ago, they seemed centuries ago now. Okay, let's go home. Sister Li nodded excitedly and led her sisters into the building following Jiang Xiaozi. Lin Yu watched from the side, her eyes mostly falling on Jiang Xiaozi. Lin Yu muttered, no wonder the chief values her, she is such a cunning woman. Jiang Xiaozi turned back. Miss Lin, what are you talking about? Nothing. Lin Yu waved his hand quickly, hearing hallucinations. I didn't say anything. Yeah, maybe I'm a little tired. Jiang Xiaozi turned around with a smile, and Lin Yu was so frightened that she quickly stuck out her tongue. Oh my god, this woman's ears are so sensitive. Jiang Xiaozi's work efficiency was very good. She brought the women back to the building and arranged everyone's accommodation in just half an hour. They originally lived in the building, but they lived on different floors and rooms. Jiang Xiaozi did not let the women live together. but asked them to go back to their respective homes, clean the messy houses after the war, and personally deliver drinking water and food from door to door. After the women enjoyed a hearty meal, they took turns washing off the dirt on their bodies in the bathtub on the second floor and changing into their own clothes at home. In a daze, they seemed to have returned to before the end, except for the fact that the weather was so hot that it made people dizzy. It seemed that all the horrors had not happened, but soon, Jiang Xiaozi broke this illusion. She gathered the women in the lobby on the first floor. Sisters, everyone should be very aware of the situation outside now. Jiang Xiaozi looked at the 12 women in front of him and said calmly, the end of the world has arrived, this is reality. Humanity must stick together to survive. As a woman, I know better than anyone else that under this disaster, women's status will decline sharply and their survival will not be guaranteed. Although Mr. Su is a man, he is also a benevolent leader. He cleaned up our home and provided food, water and safety. This is an extremely rare and valuable thing in a doomsday survival environment. Jiang Xiaozi's tone gradually became serious. In order to protect this peace and harmony, I hope that the sisters can unite together and protect our home. Only through unity can we survive in the apocalypse. I don't want anyone to destroy my home, and I don't want anyone to miss the concept of peace. Throw away all your pride. Put away your princess disease. Live seriously. Jiang Xiaozi's words were very simple, but they could still bring tears to the eyes of the women in front of her. They have already suffered and are more adaptable to this sudden doomsday era than anyone else. Ms. Jiang, guarding our home means do we need to fight? In the crowd, a little girl timidly said, I have never fought with anyone. No, you don't need to take risks. Jiang Xiaozi smiled at her tenderly and comforted her frightened heart. Mr. Su will arrange someone to protect us regarding the battle. In our shelter, everyone performs their duties. Miss Lin Yu, for example, is our warrior. She will naturally do the dangerous work. Jiang Xiaozi looked at Lin Yu, who was standing next to him with a gun, and asked with a smile, really, Miss Lin Yu? You will protect us, right? Promise to complete the mission. Lin Yu stood at attention with a snap, head held high, and her pretty face extremely serious, protecting people's lives and safety. It is my obligation and responsibility. This familiar firm emphasis and almost roaring declaration makes every woman feel a deep sense of security in her heart. The declaration spoken by Chinese soldiers is not just a simple slogan, it is traditional literacy and instinctive cognition that have been tested by war. So, you don't need to go into a fight that might happen. Jiang Xiaozi turned to the women again and smiled. Of course, we can't keep idle people in the shelter. We all have to contribute our own strength to make our home safer. For example, clean the building, wash clothes and cook, move supplies, and help Leah to transform and repair the building's defense measures and traps. Doing some work in advance can naturally effectively improve the shelter's resistance to danger. Before that, I will make detailed division of labor and arrangements based on everyone's specialties and professions. Everyone doesn't need to be nervous, just think of it as finding a job with food and accommodation. If you think like this, don't you feel much more relaxed? Jiang Xiaozi is very good at controlling the situation. In her few words, the women's emotions gradually calmed down, and their faces also showed a look of yearning and expectation for a stable life. At this moment, Lin Yu suddenly slapped his head and lowered his voice. Oh no, Miss Jiang, I seem to have forgotten something. I have to report to the chief quickly. Chapter 27 1 verses 30. Then I will definitely win. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Su Yi stood by the window upstairs and could see Jiang Xiaozi lecturing the women downstairs from a distance. Although it was unclear what Jiang Xiaozi said, judging from everyone's demeanor, it seemed that these women had been successfully appeased and they began to trust Jiang Xiaozi. She is really a woman who is good at management. She is worthy of being an A-level talent. Su Yi murmured. He looked up and looked at the red sun that was gradually setting in the west. The entire sky was rendered crimson, revealing a deep sense of depression and sultry heat. By the way, it's been almost a week, why haven't we seen the rescue forces showing up yet? If foreign military forces will collapse due to sudden disasters, in China, it seems that the probability of this is very low. Where are the soldiers? There are millions of regular troops, city police forces, and armed police, special police, and militia. These are almost tens of millions of combatable soldiers, not to mention veterans who retire every year. They don't even care. No movement. Sui frowned. This was the biggest confusion buried in his heart. Like all ordinary people in China, he always had the thought of waiting for rescue at the first moment of the end. Sui even struggled in his mind. If rescue forces came to his door, whether he should follow the country or stay in the shelter and continue to survive, it's okay now, no need to worry, there is no rescue force at all. Not to mention the army, there is almost no news about the police, and there is no trace of even the official political force. In the entire city's chat channels, there are only a few shelters claiming to be police officers recruiting homeless survivors. Apart from this, there is no other relevant information or clues. This is extremely unreasonable. As far as I know, there is a military region next to Jinling City. The military power of this city is not weak. The first round of Doomsday disaster was just a high-temperature climate, not a surprise attack by a cosmic monster. How could human military power disappear? Sui couldn't understand. He had already made simple predictions and speculations in his mind. Even if the advent of the Doomsday Game causes the failure of high-tech items of mankind around the world, communication means, aircraft, tanks, satellites and drones will not be used. But we still have people, and soldiers are people too. Even with bare hands and cold weapons, this is a terrifying force that cannot be underestimated. With the temperament of Chinese soldiers, it is impossible to remain invisible in the face of a catastrophic disaster. There must be something hidden in this that I don't know about. Is it caused by the mechanics of the Doomsday Game? Sui pondered slightly and frowned. A derivative disaster destroyed the country's military strength? It doesn't exist, right? There are so many soldiers scattered everywhere, how can we catch them all in one go? Even if we kill them all, we should at least give them a notification. Judging from the current situation, the mechanism of the Doomsday Game is not unprovoked massacre, and there is no reason for mysterious existence to directly evaporate these military and political forces. And it's a high-temperature apocalypse. Although the 70-degree climate is very scary, it won't make people unable to survive for a second. Where have these people gone? Strangeness. Sui murmured. Last time, the mysterious existence reported the number of global sacrifices. Is it possible that the 1.3 billion people who died were politicians and soldiers from various countries? Sui couldn't understand it and had no channels to obtain relevant information. His current only way to contact the outside world is through a city area communication channel provided by a mysterious existence that is similar to a game chat interface, but here, there are only various help messages, transaction messages and desperate people sighing every day, and there is very little useful news. I always feel that there is an invisible force that is deliberately suppressing the self-rescue and error-correcting abilities of society in the era of human civilization. Does that mysterious guy want to see how humans struggle to survive in complete chaos? It's like an aristocratic gentleman watching a trapped beast fighting, appreciating the despair of human beings. Sui sat on the bed, feeling uneasy. Now that he was in a relatively safe environment, his thoughts gradually gained depth. But the more he thought about it, Sui discovered that this sudden Doomsday Game was full of unexplainable mysteries. Chief! Chief, are you here? Lin Yu's voice came from outside the room, breaking Sui's thinking. Come in. Yes. Lin Yu pushed the door open and saluted Sui. Chief, I have an important report. Well, tell me. Sui nodded. Lin Yu sorted out his words, and said in a deep voice, during my mission just now, I found an unattended large supermarket. After exploring, I found that there was no one guarding it, and some supplies had been evacuated. But there are still a lot of supplies left inside. I can't take too much supplies by myself, so I asked the chief for instructions. Should I focus my next collection in this large supermarket? A large supermarket with no people around. Sui was stunned and touched his chin. It can't be a trap, right? In such a chaotic situation, no one has enough to eat, and the streets are full of hungry ghosts who risk death from heat in search of food. There is still a supermarket that is unoccupied. This shouldn't be the case. If someone discovers it, it must be vacated immediately. Chief, it shouldn't be a trap. I've confirmed it carefully. Lin Yu shook his head and said seriously, but there are traces of fighting in the supermarket, with corpses and blood left. The time of death is probably in the past 2 days. According to the situation at the scene, someone should have attacked and killed the owner of the supermarket and the natives, and then took some supplies away. I think the murderer should continue to come to the supermarket to move supplies in the next few days. So, you want to snatch food from the tiger's mouth? Sui frowned. It's a bit risky. Chief, they don't have guns, Lin Yu said in a deep voice. The weapons used to kill are all sharp weapons, 90% of which are conventional commercial props, and there are no military equipment. There are 8 dead bodies, and the fight is very fierce. It is estimated that the number of perpetrators is about 10 to 15 people. Counting the potential backup forces that may exist, there are no more than 30 people. And I have it. Lin Yu patted the rifle behind him, and his tone was extremely confident. 1 vs 30. 1 gun is enough. This, okay. Sui blinked, and sighed in his heart. Lin Yu's character background is worthy of being a template for Chinese soldiers. It is really, I am invincible. The more than 30 possible enemies are not worth mentioning in her eyes. She is still thinking about the large supermarket that has been occupied by others. Lin Yu, I don't want you to get into trouble. Are you sure? Sui was also very tempted. Now that the gathering place has just received a group of people, more supplies must be stored to cope with consumption. Jiang Xiaozi is sure to train these women into qualified residents of the shelter, but the prerequisite is that Sui can feed so many people. 100% sure, I can definitely take it down. I mean, I don't want to see you get hurt. Definitely not get hurt. Lin Yu raised her head, her tone calm and firm. A group of thugs without professional equipment, they don't even have the qualifications to see me. Wow. This tone, you are the female soldier king. Sui smiled. Lin Yu does have some strength of a soldier king. He has witnessed it with his own eyes. Okay, I agree. You can come up with the battle plan yourself. I'm not a professional. But I suggest you go to Jiang Xiaozi to ask for some strategies. She is very smart and can help you. Also, notify Liya and try to make more small things for you that can be used. Sui paused and reminded, don't worry, make more preparations, I can't lose you. Sui said this very sincerely, it has nothing to do with love. He really can't lose Lin Yu. She is too important. Guarantee to return victorious. Lin Yu saluted and then turned to leave. After getting permission, she immediately found Liya who was soaking in the research room, and together found Jiang Xiaozi to seek a good strategy to defeat the enemy and a plan to transport materials. The 3 women got together for about an hour and then started to act separately. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Sui watched from the window as Lin Yu, Jiang Xiaozi, and 12 women left the building in a mighty manner. Good guy, they came out in full force. Except for Liya and Sui, Lin Yu led all the women out. Each of them had a simple steel spear and wooden shield that Liya quickly made in the research room. They were fully equipped and had some combat power. I reminded her not to be too anxious, right? Sui was a little uneasy and murmured, it's already night, are they going to attack at night? What a group of daring women. Chapter 28 Using oneself as bait, murderous intent in the dark night. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 8 o'clock in the evening, Jiang Xiaozi led the girls to walk in the streets at night. There were several flashlights in the team, as well as simple torches made by Liya, so there was no need to worry about lighting at night. The most unbearable thing was still the hot climate. The girls were wearing a lot of clothes, wrapping themselves tightly, and even wearing masks on their faces. At first glance, everyone seemed to be spending the winter, and some even wore down jackets. This is the way Liya taught everyone to keep out the heat. By wearing multiple layers of clothing, the air layer is increased to provide better insulation. the inner layer of clothes can choose moisture-absorbing and perspiration-wicking fabrics, such as cotton or high-tech synthetic fibers, to keep the skin dry. The outer layer can choose thicker materials to block heat. It turns out that this is indeed effective. Although everyone sweats profusely in their clothes, it is better than letting the skin directly contact the 70-degree high temperature, but even so, everyone still feels dizzy and dizzy. The high-temperature doomsday lasted for many days, and everyone still found it difficult to adapt. Hold on a little longer. Jiang Shaozi distributed a sip of ice water to everyone to lower their body temperature, and at the same time comforted and boosted morale. Sisters, we are not in a peaceful era now, we can't rely on men, let's unite ourselves. After this time of transporting supplies, I will propose to Mr. Su to distribute more basic daily necessities to everyone. In addition, this time we are not just transporting food, sanitary napkins, insulation materials are also necessities. Jiang Shaozi's words made the girls' eyes light up. They are all women, and their lives are a little more troublesome than men. If you can live the same as in peacetime in the doomsday environment, it is simply the greatest happiness. Jiang Shaozi did not lie, she did plan to transport more non-food supplies. After all, the high temperature has continued for many days, and basically all food except canned food has rotted. Instead of looking for something to eat in a group of rags, it is better to take more of the remaining necessary supplies and be prepared for a protracted war. Are we just going to move supplies? A girl looked at the steel spear and shield in her hand and said hesitantly, I feel like we are going to war. It's just for self-defense. We won't be used in real battles. Jiang Shaozi comforted and took the initiative to walk in front of the team. After a while, everyone came to a large supermarket 6 streets away. This is a 7-story urban shopping mall. The door is broken, there is a mess of garbage in front of the door, and the walls are covered with dried blood. The shopping mall was already empty. Jiang Shaozi led the timid and frightened women into the building, found the guide sign, and went straight to the underground supermarket to move. The women were a little timid at first, fearing that a group of thugs would jump out from somewhere and surround them, but as time passed, everyone was attracted by the diverse material reserves in the building and began to collect and move them hard. Everyone knows that the more things you move back, the less pressure you will have to survive. Now, everyone is working hard for their own survival, and no one dares to neglect it. Jiang Shaozi directed the women to continuously move the supplies outside the building, and then move them back when there was enough. Put the heavy and large items at the bottom of the shopping cart. Connect multiple shopping carts together, and then we will have to pull a lot of carts by ourselves. Is there a courier point nearby? Go and bring the transport trucks from the courier point here. They are good for transporting supplies. Jiang Shaozi directed the women, and at the same time, she glanced at the chaotic streets and sighed slightly. Because the doomsday broke out suddenly, everyone was sent back to their shelters at the same time, resulting in crooked cars everywhere on the streets crashing into each other. Even if she asked Leah to unlock the door and get a truck, she couldn't drive in the car. It seems that we can only trouble everyone to move more times. Such a large supermarket has a lot of things that can be useful to us. I guess we can't move them all in one night. Jiang Shaozi murmured, and she looked up at the depths of the darkness around her. Jiang Shaozi's sixth sense told her that she seemed to be being watched. The women lit torches and flashlights in the dark, shining like fireflies in the dark. In the depths of the darkness, there seemed to be evil eyes greedily watching the women. The bait has been laid, and the prey hasn't appeared yet. Jiang Shaozi raised her eyebrows. She used herself as bait to provide Lin Yu with the best sniping environment. In order to take into account Lin Yu's sniping perspective, she even deliberately placed the gathering place at the entrance of the spacious shopping mall and placed a lot of simple torches around. This is the only light in the darkness, which will definitely attract the hunters who come to this shopping mall. Boss, look, there is a fire over there. At the end of the dark street, under the cover of several abandoned cars, whispering voices came. Turn down the flashlight, don't let those people see it. Is Xiaolin back? What's going on over there? Yes, Brother Lu, there are a bunch of women over there. I looked, there are no men. All women. Oh. Are there still women who dare to come out now? Big Brother Lu touched his big bald head, he bent down and squatted behind the car, smiling meaningfully. a group of women who hugged each other are also lambs. It seems that we will have meat tonight. Brother, don't be too careless. A young man next to him adjusted the frame of his glasses and lowered his voice. Anything can happen these days, and the boat will capsize in the gutter. Let's observe it again. Little brother Lou is right, let's wait and see. The men next to him echoed one after another. It seems that the young man with glasses has a very high status in everyone's mind. Okay, let's wait and see. Big brother Lou nodded, and everyone waited for another hour, very patiently. They hid in the dark and watched the women move more and more supplies from the supermarket, filling one cart after another. Brother Lou, I think it's almost time. These women seem to want to go back. If we don't do it, the cooked duck will fly away. Brother Lou, I want to sleep with a woman tonight, please, my child is starving. The men were impatient, and many of them spoke with hoarse voices. Brother, what do you think? Brother Lou looked at his younger brother, and Brother Lou touched his chin. Brother, I just thought about it, where did these women come from? I recalled the intelligence information I collected recently. It is said that there was a gunfight in a residential area nearby not long ago, and there seemed to be the movement of grenades. Then someone saw a group of women being driven out. I suspect this is the group of women. Brother Lou made an analysis and finally made a judgment. They should have no companions. It is likely that they are a group of women. Although they all have some weapons, women are women after all. They are not good enough to fight. I think we can take them down, but we have to be quick, because the guys from the next few blocks have also set their sights on this shopping mall. I'm afraid that if we act slowly, someone will take advantage of us. Little Lou's analysis made everyone nod in agreement. Little Lou's analysis is on point. We really need to make a quick decision and not let our guard down just because our opponents are women. If these women are intercepted by others, I will definitely not be able to sleep at night. This is more painful than death. It's agreed in advance that the most beautiful one will go to Big Lou. We will divide the others. If there are not enough, we will take turns sleeping. Do you have any objections? Someone proposed a distribution plan, and the other men agreed. Big brother Lou frowned and scolded. It hasn't been done yet, why are you in such a hurry? Even if we have to divide, it should be the one who wears cheongsam that my brother sleeps with. The prettiest one must be the one with the best brain. Brother, little brother Lou looked at big brother Lou with a touched face. Big brother Lou patted his shoulder. Brother is just a dead body, you are smart, of course you eat the best. Brother is looking forward to you finding a wife for my Lou family. That cheongsam woman looks pretty good, qualified to be my wife. Little brother Lou was so moved that he couldn't wait any longer, and urged, Big brother Lou. Let's do it. Well, assign the battle plan, according to what my brother said before, 10 people in a group, outflanking left and right. Brother, you take 2 people alone to go to the back door to block the escaping woman. We will start in 10 minutes. Yes, brother. The young man bent over with 2 men and went around the back door of the building in the dark. There were more than 20 men around brother Lou. After waiting for more than 10 minutes in the dark, he quietly waved his hand. Brothers, go. Let's go eat meat. Hey, go. Rob the women. Rob the supplies. The men in the dark laughed excitedly and bent over in the abandoned vehicles. They quickly approached the women at the door of the building under the cover of darkness and vehicles, but behind them, on a high-rise platform, a woman in camouflage military uniform was holding a rifle, and her every move was clearly seen through the high-power sniper scope with night vision goggles. Miss Jiang guessed right. Lin Yu tilted his head and slowly pulled the trigger. The prey is really hooked. Chapter 29 Kill 2 birds with 1 stone, kill them all. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey, beauties, in the darkness, a man's playful greeting suddenly came, and the girl closest to them was startled. Ah! Who is it? She turned around and saw more than 20 men on both sides walking towards them, holding fire axes, steel bars, kitchen knives and other weapons in their hands. Sister Jiang. Sister Jiang, that the girl was frightened and turned pale. She turned and ran while shouting loudly. The girls who were focusing on carrying materials raised their heads and their faces changed suddenly. They have been surrounded by this group of men. Don't be chaotic, don't panic. Jiang Xiaozi's crisp voice rose several degrees, and she was still calmly soothing the girls' emotions. Take a deep breath, remember what I taught you. When the women heard Jiang Xiaozi's voice, they all had a backbone and kept running from a distance and surrounded her. Some girls remembered Jiang Xiaozi's instructions before leaving, and then they hurriedly picked up the scattered steel spears and shields from the ground, and trembled with their shields in their hands facing the men. Hey, you still want to use force? Look, it's the women's army. Ha ha ha, I just like spicy women, it's exciting, that the men teased and laughed from time to time, not taking these women who couldn't even hold their weapons seriously. They looked at these women with ill intentions, and more of their eyes fell on Jiang Xiaozi. There was no other reason. Among these women, only Jiang Xiaozi was the most beautiful. She was breathtakingly beautiful, far better than the stars and internet celebrities in peacetime. Under the greedy gaze of the men, Jiang Xiaozi lifted her temples blown by the evening breeze and said lightly, "Gentlemen, are you out so late to search for supplies? The shopping mall is very large. We have already got some, and we won't fight with you for the rest." Jiang Xiaozi's tone was calm, without any fear. Searching for supplies, Big Brother Lu looked at Jiang Xiaozi with interest and smiled. Yes, but this shopping mall is the territory of our White Bear gang. You came here to rob us, hand over the things. Then compensate us. Big Brother Lu, how do you want them to compensate? How else can I compensate? Of course, I will compensate with my body, ha ha ha. The one with the biggest butt. I want that one. I love this one. That the men did not hide their purpose and laughed unscrupulously. The women around Jiang Xiaozi showed fear and despair in their eyes. They seemed to remember the inhuman experience in the dark days in the residential building. The shopping mall is your territory. Jiang Xiaozi looked up at the dimmed sign on the building, and suddenly smiled helplessly. Okay, it seems there is no room for negotiation. Negotiation, what do you want to discuss with us? Big Lu took 2 steps forward with a smile, approaching Jiang Xiaozi. Do you plan to discuss how much dowry you want? Jiang Xiaozi was silent, no longer speaking, just calmly raised his right hand and clenched his fist. Got it. Lin Yu, hiding on the top floor of the night, took a deep breath and entered the aiming state. What do you mean by this? Big Lu was stunned and smiled. Are you raising your hand to surrender? If you... Before Big Lu finished speaking, he saw Jiang Xiaozi put down his right hand, gently bent his index finger, and imitated the action of shooting. Aim at Big Lu. Jiang Xiaozi tilted his head slightly, and the sound of a bullet coming out of the gun came from his rosy lips. Bang! Puff! Almost at the moment when Jiang Xiaozi made a sound, Big Lu's head exploded. Suddenly, red, yellow and white filth splashed everywhere. The women were frightened and screamed shrilly, awakening many unlucky people who had heatstroke in the dark night. Plop! Lu's headless body fell softly in a pool of blood. The men were stunned by the screams and looked at Lu's body in disbelief. Their boss was still talking and laughing in the last second, and the next second he was directly, headshot. What shot him in the head? Could this woman be magic? The men were stunned. They couldn't react for a while. After all, anyone who saw this scene would be stunned, but Jiang Xiaozi didn't stop. She moved the target in a playful way, aimed with gestures, and squinted slightly. Bang! Puff! Another man was accurately shot in the head. The huge explosion almost blew his neck open. Aw! Ugh! Ugh! A woman couldn't hold it in any longer, screaming and vomiting. The scene in front of her was too bloody and cruel. There is no mosaic in reality, only the most direct and cruel competition in fighting. Life and death often happen in an ordinary moment. Fuck! This woman knows magic. A man jumped up immediately, and everyone reacted, looking at Jiang Xiaozi with fear. Damn it, revenge for Lu. Can't run, we can't run away. Come together, she is alone, it's impossible to deal with so many of us at the same time. Catch her and break her fingers. There are smart people among the men, knowing that they may not be able to escape from Jiang Shaozi, so it's better to fight to the death. More than 20 men rushed towards Jiang Shaozi. Jiang Shaozi did not retreat, and still aimed with gestures. Bang! Puff! Bang! Pft! Jiang Shaozi kept switching targets, as if her white and slender fingers could really shoot bullets, and the men approaching her fell to the ground one after another. In just a few breaths, 7 or 8 men who were the first to charge fell to the ground. These headless corpses formed a natural protective belt, hindering the charging speed of the men behind them. It's over. This woman really knows witchcraft. Whoever she targets will die. Is this her talent for shelter? A man was so frightened that he stood still, muttering coldly, aim in the void. Whoever you point at will die. Hurry and help Miss Jiang. Among the women, Sister Li, the oldest, was the first to react. She wiped the vomit from the corner of her mouth, suppressed the fear and anxiety in her heart, and encouraged her sisters with a hiss, if Miss Jiang dies, we don't have to run. Take up weapons. Protect Miss Jiang. Under Sister Li's roar, the girls woke up one after another, picked up the steel spears in their hands, and scattered one after another, barely maintaining a special formation to deal with any new charges that the men might launch. Although the palms of the women holding the weapons were still trembling, their eyes were very firm. All contradictory emotions turned into anger at this moment. Whether it was anger towards the man or anger towards this damn Doomsday, they became the driving force for fighting at this moment. They only have one thought now, to remember the formations and simple combat techniques taught by Miss Jiang. Then, work hard. Their growth is a little faster than I expected. Jiang Shaozi raised her eyebrows slightly, feeling a little satisfied in her heart. She brought these women out not only to use them as bait, but also to let them witness the brutal battle with their own eyes. Only when stimulated by the death threat of blood, severed limbs and internal organs can they grow rapidly. Those who do not adapt will be eliminated by the times. Only those who adapt are qualified to become residents of the shelter. Now, men, how could they dare to launch a new charge? They all froze in place, unable to escape or fight. The overly beautiful Cheongsam woman in front of her still maintained her shooting gesture, but she was not aiming at anyone. It's over. Lin Yu breathed out slowly, and she was happy to take a break and let the hot barrel of the gun relax. You just said, the White Bear Gang. Jiang Shaozi tilted her head, squinted her eyes slightly, and asked calmly, where is your shelter? How many people are there? Have you killed the survivors in this shopping mall? Jiang Shaozi kept asking questions, and the men looked at each other in silence, seeing the fear in each other's eyes. It seemed that he could not offend this terrifying woman. She is beautiful, but also very strong. Beauty, we are good people, we just wanted to say hello to you. One man had the courage to speak in a hoarse voice, his eyes fixed on Jiang Shaozi's fingers, for fear that she would target him. Greet. Jiang Shaozi sneered, answer my question. Jiang Shaozi scolded, making the men tremble in fright. Some couldn't help it and shouted, don't mess around. Behind us is the Little White Bear Sanctuary. Big Brother Bang is looking after us. I advise you to be wise. Your talent is indeed great, but Little White Bear is even stronger. He is the #1 Doomsday player in the city. If you let us go, we can pretend that nothing happened and we will never tell anything about you. Anyway, we don't know who you are, let alone where you are. One man came to his senses in a hurry, and what he said made the other men nod in agreement, looking at Jiang Shaozi eagerly. This statement, which was both a threat and a statement that he would not pose any danger to Jiang Shaozi, was the most convincing. After all, from a common sense point of view, no one wants to make too many enemies in the apocalypse, let alone offend the Big Brother. The reputation of Little White Bear has spread throughout the city in the past few days. Any survivor who has a shelter panel knows the name of Little White Bear Shelter. Even survivors who have lost their shelter have heard of it. The men felt that Jiang Shaozi, a woman, would not want to offend the Big Brother. Little White Bear. Jiang Shaozi didn't look surprised. She was just silent for a moment. She seemed to be thinking about something. the men nervously waited for the judgment of fate until Jiang Xiaozi slowly raised his left hand. Oh! Were they all killed? Lin Yu was stunned, held her breath, and decisively pulled the trigger. Bang! 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 Under the dark night, the light of gunfire flickered, and bullets came out silently, blowing the heads of men one after another, accurate and headshot. This woman is crazy. She wants to kill us all. Run! Run quickly! Bitch, you fucking... The men fled in panic, but their legs couldn't outrun the bullets. In this open area, they were the best moving targets for snipers. It only took Lin Yu a minute to kill all the remaining men. Moment later, there were only headless corpses lying on the ground in a pool of blood, like a human slaughterhouse, exuding a heart-stopping horror in the middle of the night. Chapter 30 Chief, you are so handsome. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At the entrance of the building, there were corpses all over the ground, and the pungent blood floated in the air, very strong. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network. The women were silent. Some looked at Jiang Xiaozi with fearful eyes, but then quickly looked away. Jiang Xiaozi's ruthlessness shocked the women. After a while, Sisterly took the initiative to break the silence. She suppressed her disgust at the corpse and actively called to the sisters, "Quick! Get moving and clean up the corpse." Sisterly thought very simply, if Jiang Xiaozi killed someone, then they would have to do something. She kills people and we bury the bodies. The division of labor is clear and we can show off in front of Miss Jiang. In order to save her from thinking that everyone is trash, it would be better if she drives us away out of disgust, but if she kills us too. The women felt deep fear in their hearts. Although they were unwilling, they still held their noses and prepared to work. No. Jiang Xiaozi waved his hand. His voice was calm and gentle, completely different from the indifference he had just said. There are so many corpses, we can't finish them, so hurry up and continue collecting supplies, don't waste time. Hey, yes. Sisterly nodded quickly, with a more respectful attitude, and quickly greeted the sisters to continue loading the supplies into the truck. There was only a little girl of 17 or 18 years old. She seemed a little hesitant. When she passed by Jiang Xiaozi, she couldn't help but ask, "Miss Jiang, why do you want to kill them all?" They have obviously begged for mercy. The girl looked at Jiang Xiaozi timidly. She had not yet changed from her peaceful attitude and was not used to Jiang Xiaozi's cold-blooded methods. Hey, you girl! Get to work quickly. Sisterly was stamping her feet anxiously on the side and scolded, "Don't disturb Miss Jiang, who are you? Come and work quickly." She was afraid that Jiang Xiaozi would be angry and kill someone. Jiang Xiaozi glanced at Sisterly and asked the girl in front of her with a smile, "I remember you. Your name is Xiaoyan, right? You are 18 years old and a freshman at Jinling University." Xiaoyan nodded. Jiang Xiaozi put away her smile and said calmly, "Your sister, who was 15 years old, died in the building. I have seen her body. She died miserably, and that body was the only one I buried with my own hands." Jiang Xiaozi's indifferent words made Xiaoyan tremble and her eyes filled with tears. "Don't cry. Look at me." Jiang Xiaozi suddenly raised her voice, and Xiaoyan raised her head and looked at her with a look of deep grievance. The women around looked at Jiang Xiaozi nervously, fearing that she would suddenly make a move. "If you had been braver and dared to resist and fight, your sister wouldn't have died so miserably." "Miss Jiang, I can't beat them." "I tried to resist." "Then go for it. Go and die. It's better to be killed by them. It's better than your sister ending up like this." Jiang Xiaozi's tone was very cold. Xiaoyan murmured and was speechless. She could only lower her head. "Even your sister's death didn't make you realize this era, so why do you have the face to stand here and question me? Either strip naked and find a man to kneel down and beg for peace. Or pick up the weapon in your hand and fight to the death of anyone who violates you." Jiang Xiaozi came close to the girl, almost face to face. She narrowed her eyes slightly. "So, Xiaoyan, what do you want to do? Do you want to work hard with me, or do you want to find a good man?" I don't know. Xiaoyan's tears fell. She was forced to be speechless by Jiang Xiaozi. She just wanted to ask a question and had no other meaning. Miss Jiang, ouch. Miss Jiang, she is still a child. Sister Li hurriedly stepped forward, held Xiaoyan in her arms, and bowed down to Jiang Xiaozi with an apologetic smile. You have a lot, don't argue with her, I will teach her a lesson later. Saying that, Sister Li hit Xiaoyan's arm hard, so hard that the pain made Xiaoyan cry louder. It's okay, I don't care. Jiang Xiaozi said calmly, let her cry. This may be the last time she can cry. Jiang Xiaozi, what do you mean? Sister Li's eyes widened, thinking to herself, she wouldn't kill Xiaoyan just because of a word. Jiang Xiaozi did not answer Sister Li's question. She turned and left, walked a few steps and then turned to look at Xiaoyan. You just asked me why I killed them all. My husband told me about Little White Bear Sanctuary. This is a murderer. He is the guy who kills the most people in the city. Think about it carefully, would such a murderous devil let go of a group of weak women? We have been discovered by them. If we don't keep silent, they will definitely come to our door. Xiaoyan, you can be kind, but I hope that the next time you show kindness, think about whether your kindness will kill us. Jiang Xiaozi raised his eyebrows, turned around and glanced at the women. Work. Hey, yes, the women nodded quickly, and they suddenly understood after hearing Jiang Xiaozi's explanation. Miss Jiang did not kill innocent people indiscriminately, she did it to protect everyone, but what Miss Jiang said about weak woman. To be honest, everyone thinks Jiang Xiaozi is not very weak, she is more like a murderer than the legendary murderer. Sister Li was still trying to comfort Xiaoyan, but was soon pushed away by Xiaoyan after she thanked her. The girl wiped away her tears silently, put on the steel spear on her back, and lowered her head to continue moving supplies in and out of the shopping mall. This time, she seemed to be moving more things. Although it was very strenuous, she still held on with a red face and gritted her teeth. It seemed that she wanted to move her sister's share back. The hot evening breeze was blowing, there were no more problems in the remaining hours. Until 2 o'clock in the middle of the night, the team set off on the return journey with a full load of supplies. 4 o'clock in the middle of the night, Sui was awakened from his sleep and heard the chirping of women downstairs. With crisp and pleasant laughter, he was a little curious, pushed the door and went down the stairs to the lobby on the first floor. After Sui's talent was upgraded, he had 1 hour of exemption from going out every day, so he didn't have to worry about affecting his talent reward. In the corridor, Sui saw that the lobby was full of various supplies, all piled in the shopping cart. The hall was packed with people. The women were holding torches and flashlights, carefully sorting the supplies amidst laughter and joy. Their laughter was full of the joy of harvest. This was the happiness that could not be dispelled by the heat, and the hope of survival. Lin Yu stood against the wall with a gun in her arms. She looked around with vigilant eyes, and looked up at the corridor as if she had noticed something. She saw the figure of a man. Snap! Lin Yu stood at attention instantly, and shouted reflexively, "Hello, Chief!" At this moment, the noisy women were silent, and the air was instantly quiet. Countless pairs of eyes looked at Lin Yu, and then looked in the direction of her salute. In the silent atmosphere, there was only the sound of men's boots stepping on the stairs. Crisp and powerful, a man's figure slowly walked down the dark stairs. The women saw Sui, and he walked down the corridor expressionlessly and came to the front of everyone. It was not that Sui deliberately controlled his posture, but he had no experience, so he could only keep a straight face and not show his fear. Hurry, hurry up. The women responded to each other, stood up one after another, and lined up behind Lin Yu. Sister Li suddenly bowed her head and shouted, "Hello, Chief." The women reacted one after another, shouting, "Hello, Chief." "Hello, Chief." The voices were not uniform, but they all showed awe. There was also a hint of curiosity. The brave girl raised her head with courage, and looked at the chief in front of her carefully in the light of the torch on the wall. He was a little young and handsome, with regular features and sword-like eyebrows. His fair face looked like a scholar, and it seemed to be unrelated to the image of the paunchy chief in the rumors. The kind-looking Sui quickly gave the women a great favor. He looked harmless. Although he had a stern face, he didn't have much majesty. On the contrary, he gave people a sense of intimacy. making people want to get close to him unconsciously. Sui stood in front of the women. Jiang Xiaozi smiled and remained silent, giving the home court to Sui. Lin Yu was even less talkative. She stood behind Sui like a pine tree and was the most loyal guard. Jiang Xiaozi blinked at Sui with her beautiful eyes, indicating that Sui should say something. This was the first time the chief met his residents. He should say something, at least say hello. Sui took a deep breath, and he suddenly felt the pressure on his shoulders. His shelter already had the first batch of residents. These women who had suffered hardships now depended on him and entrusted their lives to him. Indeed, he should say something to make these poor people feel more at ease. Sui slowly opened his mouth, but before he could speak, a clear murmur suddenly came from the group of women. Chief, you are really handsome.